feel like Martin Brundle on the F1 grid walk. I just trod on this man's toe as well. I might step up with you as well. Who do you want to talk to? Are you ready? So we're here at Motorcycle Live. This is Ross from Yamaha. Hello. And we're here with the guys from Newmarket Yamaha as well. So say hello to the camera guys, not to me, but to Lois. So Ross, you know way more about these motorcycles than we do. Can you give us a little bit of info on the one behind us?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is our new flagship tourer. So it's called the Tracer 9 GT Plus. It's had a huge update this year. And I guess the first thing to talk about, and you've probably noticed, is the array of lights at the front here. So this is the first production motorcycle on the market with matrix headlights. So you've maybe heard of them from the car world, like BMW, Audi and stuff have been doing it for a few years, where if you've got traffic coming towards you, the lights, rather than just dipping, will spread around the oncoming vehicle, so you maintain visibility up the road whilst you're riding, so you don't suddenly go like blind as the lights dip down. On top of that, we've also added an electronically adjustable windscreen. We've got electronically adjustable suspension, keyless ignition, but that extends to also the fuel cap, full central locking for the boxes, plus a top box if you go for it, so you don't need to get your key out of your pocket.
Gotcha.
It comes with heated grips as standard. There is a radar on the front here, so it's got radar, adaptive cruise control, blind spot monitoring, and new for this year, which we're super excited about, it comes standard on the GT Plus, is what we call YAMT, which is Yamaha Automated Manual Transmission. So there we will see there is no clutch lever here. Lewis would have to come over, but we are missing a clutch lever here. And we've replaced it with this rocker paddle, I don't know if you can see that, which allows you to manually shift gear if you want to, or you can put the bike into like a fully automatic mode.
So you've got two modes, and that's very much like a paddle shift in a car, for example.
Correct. If you're used to like PDK on a Porsche or DSG in your Audi or whatever, very, very similar system. You can switch seamlessly between automatic and a manual mode. Within the manual mode, we also have additional modes. You have a rain mode, a road mode, a sport mode, which adjusts the way that the bike behaves effectively, so throttle, sensitivity and everything.
No gear shifter.
And no gear shifter, no, exactly. So yeah, that is Tracer 9 GT Plus for this year. Behind us as well, we can have a look later, but there's also the Tracer 9 GT for people that want a little bit less tech, but they still want the same engine. So it's a 3-cylinder, 117-ish horsepower, I think. Really torquey, great road engine. We use it on loads of our bikes. But if you don't want all the tech from the GT Plus, you can go for the standard GT, or right at the back there, the standard Tracer 9. Loads of choice.
The GT Plus comes with the panniers as standard as well, or is that an accessory?
No, so GT Plus and GT come with panniers as standard. On this, they, like I said, they're central locking, so they all work with the keyless ignition. On the standard Tracer 9, they're an option. And then there's optional top boxes for both the GT Plus and the GT.
And these are available in showrooms right now, or is this something coming for next year?
No, so at the moment we've still got the current 24 models in showrooms. There's some great offers on those at the moment. Up until Christmas we're doing some contributions on those because we know the new ones are coming. So these we're expecting to see in showrooms at some point in the first quarter of next year.
So they're coming soon?
Coming soon, yeah, absolutely.
Great looking bike as well. Ross, I want to have a look at the XSI 900 and the 900 GP because they reminded me of when I was growing up and I was a massive Yamaha fan. And this is the exact thing that I couldn't afford at the time, but always wanted to have. I've got a TZR 125 RR. It was an Italian import with a Delta box frame. I still have it in the garage.
Sweet.
And I've been promised a platform in our new Yamaha store that I can do a restoration on it. And I've got an LC 250 that my brother-in-law gave me when he emigrated to Canada. And the story there is, I remember my brother-in-law picking up my sister. They were dating at the time. Right. The first bike I sat on was this Yamaha LC 250. And fast forward probably 16 years, he got me into riding motorcycles. He got me into the job with Harley at the time. And the day he left for Canada, he gave me the keys to the LC. So I haven't touched it since he gave it to me 16 years ago. But that's another bike that I want to get into the new market, Yamaha dealership, and do a full restoration.
Amazing.
So that'd be great. But I think it's great that you guys have got the GP models in retro race liveries. This is probably my favourite bike in the whole NEC, to be honest.
For a lot of riders of a certain age,
That's it. Yeah.
like you alluded to, these are the bikes that you grew up with. And I think for a lot of us, when we think about motorbikes, this is what we think a motorbike should look like. Yeah. What we don't want are brakes that don't work, tyres that don't grip, gutless engines. So with the XSR range and the whole kind of Faster Sons concept was about capturing that heritage that Yamaha have got. And we've got this amazing back catalogue of incredible bikes, but bring it right up to date. So these use exactly the same engine effectively as the brand new R9, as the Tracer 9 range. So again, it's that 117, 118 horsepower,
for most of us.
For the road, exactly, absolutely plenty of power, tons of torque, but like full suite of electronics as well. So you've got traction control on these, bi-directional quick shifters, a TFT dash, riding modes, LED lighting, which is why we've managed to get the face of it looking so good. It almost looks like a concept bike from the front.
Well, when I first see them on probably social media last year, I think you had them. Did you have these at Wheels and Waves, or you had the Momola rep at Wheels and Waves this year, didn't you? But I assumed they were Yamaha custom-built bikes or a concept bike. I remember years and years ago. In fact, Yamaha contacted me. It might have been 15 years ago when you were doing the yard built program, or when that first came out.
Yeah.
And it was I couldn't really work with Yamaha at the time. I was working with another brand. But I would have loved to. And I assume that this is what, well, this one was. That one I can see is. But that, you bought this out as a factory bike in those colours. I think it's incredible.
Yeah, and
it resonates with everything of me growing up, you know, as a kid in the 80s and the 90s. That was a bike that there was no way we could afford it, but that was the one we had in our bedroom wall.
Yeah, with a certain cigarette branding on it and whatnot. Some dealers have actually done that.
Well, I mean, and why not? But I think with this livery you don't need to, because you already know.
You know what it is, exactly.
I think it's incredible, and it's got all of the modern tech that riders such as ourselves that think we can ride these bikes, as well as the guys that watch on television and we can't. It actually helps us to get close to that, or what we think is close to that. It probably stops us having a lot of accidents.
Yeah, it definitely 100% makes the bikes safer, more approachable. It means you can get more out of them. And what's cool as well is go all the way back. So we've got the GP here, which we've spoken about. We've got the kind of naked version of it. So if you don't want,
great in those colours as well.
Exactly, it looks fantastic in these colours. Effectively the same bike without all of the fairings and things on. Same engine and everything. But what I think is even cooler is if we go to this bike. If you maybe don't have your full licence,
this is a 125.
Yeah, you can get into the Faster Sons concept at 17.
Again, so if I was a 17-year-old kid, and I mean that was a long time ago, but back then we were limited in what we could get. But to start with this, it's already custom, it's already well designed. This is the type of bike that I was trying to build out of, the first bike I had was a Yamaha RXS 100. It's the only bike that I don't have now, because I wrote it off about a year after I had it. But this is kind of like a street tracker. Look, my RXS, we scallop the seat, we put a Bub Racing exhaust on there. It was an Arlen-Ness Cafe Racer front fairing and belly pan.
And we do all those sort of bits for these as well, so you can get like genuine factory parts. You can get a
what I might do then is try to recreate the first bike I ever owned, which again was given to me by my now brother-in-law and sister for my 16th birthday. I couldn't ride it then.
Did you bought any bikes yourself, or did they all just?
I've bought a couple of bikes myself. I've sold one motorcycle, which was my 1988 TZR 250.
That's the only bike you've ever sold?
I bought that and sold that. I bought that to restore it. I never got to do it, and I sold that. I got about 300 quid for it.
Nice.
The TZR 125 I still have. I bought that in race trim to race and put that back to road spec. I've since holed the piston on that twice, and that sat in the garage for 20 years. For a moment where I knew that I'd one day work with the Yamaha dealership, that I could rebuild it.
Destiny.
But I know I've been fortunate enough to be gifted a few bikes by various people. So,
nice.
But I've kept these two Yamahas. So it's but that is a great bike.
Yes.
A great bike for a young guy or girl or someone that's fresh to motorcycles to take this. I mean, it's already customised. I'm going to get done about a job soon. No one will need me to restyle their bikes. But there's loads you can do.
And that's what
there's loads you can do
that's
to
exactly
this.
What we wanted with the Faster Sons thing. Is we wanted people to take the bikes, make them their own. We want people to take the bikes, make them their own, do something different with it, and that's what the whole XSR range is about, really.
I think that's brilliant. And this one behind us as well. So the XSR 900 in that colourway with the gold wheels. I'm a huge fan of gold wheels. All of my race bikes that I've still got, that I have at the moment, black and white, but they will have gold wheels.
Yeah.
It's and that's a spectacular gold on there as well. That's really nice. But I'm really excited to get involved in some of this. Like I said, you're kind of doing me out of a styling job because I wouldn't want to touch this.
No.
And I tell you, Lois, if you can capture this, I want to show you something. And what I think is really smart and more, not the Yamaha won't like this, but what I think more people should do is, I think this is a great shaped seat. So you've got your passenger seat, but what I think Triumph Thruxton have done it for some time. They've got their little passenger seat cowl. But what you've got over on the GP bikes is effectively this seat underneath that seat cowl. That's right, Ross?
Exactly, and you can get that seat cowl for this bike.
So you can put that one on this one as well.
Or one that is colour matched for this bike. You can get a little bikini fairing for this one as well. So if you don't want the full fairing kit, you can just get like a little headlight cowl. There's heaps you can do.
So I think, looking forward to getting my hands on some of the Yamahas, what I'd like to do is a range of retro livery, World Superbike and GP. I think that would be great, and we can do them on both models.
Yeah, we could definitely do that in the showroom. Have some sort of Lind launch editions.
I think we should.
Great.
I think we should. And in terms of accessories for these models that are Yamaha approved accessories or official accessories, other than the seat cowl and the fairing and the seat cowl, what else have we got for the 900?
So exhaust's always really popular. So if you were to look at the exhaust on the custom painted yard built on there, the Kraftwitz exhaust on that, we can get that for this one. There's Gillies levers, crash protection, tail tidies, loads of just little bits and bobs you can put onto it.
It's all the main components we need to make this look even better.
Heaps of bits, heaps of stuff for it, yeah.
I like that. Lovely. Right, Ross, so Yamaha Tenere. This one looks slightly trickier than the other ones that you've got on the stand. Tell us about this one.
Yes, so Tenere has had a huge update for this year. Came out in 2019, immediately super popular. Kind of changed the game for adventure bikes. This is one of the probably like the first really big update it's had since then. So big changes this year. We've got a whole new front end on it, so new headlights, new bodywork. We've got a new one-piece seat on both the standard bikes and this one. We've gone over to a ride-by-wire throttle now, which allows us to put some riding modes onto it. And we've got a new dash, which is much bigger, gives you more information, but also allows for turn-by-turn navigation, which is something that a lot of Tenere owners were asking for. This version in particular is called the Rally Edition. The Tenere range is slightly complicated, but effectively there's three versions. The standard bike, which we've got behind us there, the Rally here, and then we've got behind me the big twin tank bike.
I see that, yeah.
This bike effectively merges the big twin tank bike with the smaller bike, so you get the suspension from that bike. So it's fully adjustable, a lot taller, much more geared for kind of slightly more extreme off-road use. With the single tank from that one, so it keeps the weight somewhat down. It is tall though because of that. On top of that, the Rally Edition gets this, I think, amazing colour scheme. Yeah. It's awesome, right? So you can only get this colour scheme if you buy the Rally. Also comes with the beak, just give it that kind of like slightly more enduro motocross look.
So with this being the taller of the models on the Tenere, would the lower seat from the bike behind us fit this model, or it does? So there is ways of...
Yeah, so you can still fit a lowering link and a low seat to this bike or the standard bike. You won't get this one quite as low as the low, because that one's been factory lowered, and the suspension on this is taller to start with. But yeah, you're absolutely right. If you sit on this and think, oh, it is a little bit tall, speak to the guys back at Newmarket, and they can talk you through options for getting it down to a slightly more attainable seat height.
I think it's a great looking bike. Again, colourways I'm a fan of. Again, gold wheels, which we all know that I'm a big fan of this, but I love the retro design. It reminds me of, and it's not exactly the same blue and yellow, but it reminds me of the TDR 250. That was another Yamaha that I was wanted, that I couldn't afford when I was a teenager. But it's, again, you're bringing that. I really feel like the flavour and the colours of the 80s and maybe the early 90s, we're seeing a reform, we're seeing them come back in. I want to see some white and purple or white and pink from the original YZR 750s at some point soon. If they bring that out soon, you know, that's from us. So
you missed that, that was last year.
No, we got to, I want proper. Oh, there it goes, to show that I've been keeping my eye on the mark, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So,
we haven't gone, we have to wait.
Oh, well, we need to bring that back out again.
Yeah.
So it's, but no, this is a lovely bike. I love it. I think this is great. And it looks like a true Dakar bike. There's lots and lots of adventure bikes out there. This part here, I mean, I love that styling. Headlight looks amazing too. This is a great looking bike, and the beak does make a massive difference, doesn't it?
And Paul Tarras has just been out this year and won the Africa Eco Rally on a slightly kind of beefed up version of it. But we do a whole catalogue of GYTR parts for this bike, which you can buy off the shelf, bolt it on. You can turn that into effectively the same bike that he won the Africa Eco Rally on. And if you look up any Paul Tarras videos on YouTube, he is incredible, and what this bike is capable of will blow your mind in the right hands.
So this is a serious bit of kit. It's actually a proper motorcycle. And though the accessories we're talking about, accessories is not, I think, the right way to describe it. These are proper, effective performance upgrades for that type of riding. Is that available through the dealership network as well? So.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so again, like you said, with the Tenere, it tends to be less about the stylistic upgrades. With the XSRs and things, the XSRs, people like the kind of nice machine bits. On these, it tends to be a lot more about the function. So crash protection is obviously number one. One of the advantages I forgot to mention with the Rally is you get this uprated belly pan. So you see the bash plate on this one is significantly more substantial than it is on the standard bikes. But there are also crash bars available, engine covers, headlight protectors, all that sort of stuff. That's the stuff that's really popular on the Tenere, because unlike certain other brands' adventure bikes, which we kind of think of as a little bit of like a Chelsea tractor, just get ridden around town and on roads, maybe find their way into a gravel car park, our customers really, really use these, and they abuse them off-road. Have a look at the one behind us here. Case in point, this is from our off-road experience, and these bikes get an absolute hammering from complete novices right the way up to really, really experienced guys. They get jumps, they get drops, they get like flooded through streams, and they just keep going and going and going and going.
I'm pretty sure I remember seeing, and I might be wrong, so don't quote me on this, but a friend of mine and someone I raced against for a long time, Chris Northover.
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty sure I remember seeing him throw one of these about in some, I wouldn't call it green laning either. It probably started that day in the morning, but it was more than green laning he was doing, and it's pretty capable. A friend of mine over in Oz has got one of these as well, and loves it. And he was quite new to the whole adventure scene, but got into it extremely quickly and heavily. And he loves this bike. So and is this an older model to this one? This is this year's, that being next year's, is that right?
Correct. So this is this year's Extreme. This bike has been superseded with the Rally, effectively the same thing. We changed the name, and then it's had those updates I mentioned earlier. But yeah, so this is one from our off-road centre at the moment. And if you buy a Tenere and you turn up at the dealership, this is what it should look like, covered in mud.
Covered in mud.
Absolutely.
And I'll tell you one thing that I like about it, you know, I like the idea of adventure riding. I've never been brilliant off-road. I get scared sometimes. On track, that's more my home. But I like the idea of getting involved in this. Now, some of the other bikes, they look so big. I think it can be a turn-off. It can be intimidating, where this looks like most people would be capable, just because it's quite slim. It looks like it's going to weigh a lot less than some of these other brands. That's got to be quite attractive for people, I think. Let's say the amateur that wants to get in and give it a go, I'd probably be choosing one of these bikes to do it.
Yeah, we found we were at the ABR Festival, the Adventure Bike Rider Festival this year, and we did off-road tasters for people. Loads and loads of people coming up to me saying, I've never ridden the bike off-road, I don't know if I want to do the off-road ride. And we said, no, just do it, you'll be absolutely fine. And it was so cool to see them come back absolutely buzzing, because they've just had a fantastic time. And like you said, they kind of have always thought an adventure bike would be too big, too tall, too heavy. These are one of the lighter bikes in their class. They're also really well balanced, and like you said, they're narrow in the middle. So even though they're tall, you still can get your feet down on them.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, and if you're interested in that, get in touch with the Yamaha Off-Road Experience guys in Mid-Wales. Have a day or a weekend on theirs, smash them up. It's all fine.
Maybe that's we can get them along to the dealership and have an open day with these bikes there and get them to do a bit of talk and get some people signed up. So that's something we need to do. We'd like to thank Ross and the rest of his Yamaha crew for hosting us, well, for most of this week really. So Ross, have you got any words for us at Lind?
Yeah, absolutely. Gary and the whole team, it's an absolute pleasure to welcome you to Yamaha. We're super excited to start working with the Lind Group. You guys do a fantastic job with the brands you're already representing. I'm sure you can do exactly the same with Yamaha. Welcome to the family.
Brilliant. Looking forward to it.
Cheers.
Right.
Thank you.
Cheers.